Speak your soul. Speak your soul. Just let it go. Let it go. Speak your soul. Speak your soul. Let it flow. Let it flow. Let it flow. Let it flow.
Welcome to Speak Your Soul Sessions. This is Slept On Shay, and this episode or session has been a long time coming. So for people who Love is Blind, you may have stumbled your way here, or people who just finished the finale, you may be interested in what I have to say. But whatever your reasoning is for being here, thank you so much for being here. So what I'm going to get into is if my predictions in part 1 were accurate. And for those who are into astrology or find it fun, I'm also going to list the zodiac signs of the different Love is Blind participants. I scrolled through Instagram and I was able to look at different birthday posts. So if you're into that kind of thing, then you might find that super exciting. I don't believe that astrology is the end all to be all of a person's personality. I think that there are so many just different factors, but if you're into it and you find it fun, you'll enjoy it. So first, we're going to get into the couple that most people loved the most, right? Which were Brett and Tiffany. Who didn't know that they were going to last? Their love seemed very genuine, very comparable to, I said in the first session or first part of this, to Lauren and Cameron from season 1. Everything was there. It seemed that they were both emotionally available, 1,000% ready to love. They were very clearly physically attracted to each other. Communication seemed on point. Just everything seemed there, and I definitely wish them the best. And me, like most of the people who Love is Blind, loved them together. It restored people's hope, not only in love in general, but in Love is Blind. I was looking through a lot of reviews or people's opinions about Love is Blind, and everybody really didn't care for the second and third season like that. They were bored with it, or they felt as if there were a lot of people on the show that were only there for the cameras and people that weren't really looking for love. And I believe that people loved season 1 the best, and this season 4. All right. And for all of you astrology enthusiasts, Brett is a Scorpio and Tiffany is a Sagittarius. Do with that information what you will. But I know that we have another couple in the celebrity realm anyway that has that pairing, but in the reverse. The singer Sierra and football player Russell Wilson. He is a Sagittarius, and Sierra is a Scorpio. So maybe this is a quite of an odd pairing if we're going, based on that type of astrological compatibility. But it works. Like I said, I don't think astrology is the end all to be all of a person's personality. I think sometimes when you just get along with a person and they have everything that you're looking for, you just have to go for it. Just there are certain times where you have to discount maybe little petty or minor things and get the love of your life. So yay, we all knew that Brett and Tiffany were gonna make it, and they surely did. All right, now I'm going to jump into a couple that probably shocked everyone and that I was completely and utterly wrong about. I'm talking about Kwame and Chelsea. I just thought that Kwame was too immature for Chelsea. Chelsea seems like she was a person who was all in, and she could even get past the fact that Kwame was downright flirting with Micah. She seemed super forgiving and to be the type of person where it's like, look, when I like you or when I love you and I'll work with you. Even though we did also see that Kwame had to make some lifestyle changes, some things he had to come to terms and grip with, but I guess it all worked out in the end. I was also shocked it worked just because we saw that Kwame's mother had never met Chelsea, and she was back in Africa but didn't FaceTime her, try to get to know her. But then in a turn of events, his sister at the wedding was super supportive, super nice, super sweet. And then we found out during the reunion or the finale that, Chelsea had eventually met his mom and everything turned out all right, which is great and wonderful. I am happy that they got over their issues. Once again, it's just a pairing that truly shocked me. But as long as they're both happy and everything worked out for the best, then that's great. And also, at the time of this recording, I will admit that I have not looked at any updates on the couple. So as you're listening to this, who knows? Some people may have decided that they already want a divorce, but we're just strictly going based off of what happened at the reunion. And for all of you astrology enthusiasts, or is the better term zodiacs, you let me know in the comments. But Kwame is an Aries and Chelsea is a Taurus. So what I know about Aries and Tauruses are that they have very kind of fiery or stubborn personalities. With Taurus and Aries people, I think that they are who they are. They want what they want and they just go for the things that matter to them. So this pairing, I would assume, could work out really great, just given the passion just that they could have in a relationship. Or it could go extremely wrong because they could bump heads, which we did see sometimes on Love is Blind between Kwame and Chelsea. But once again, I'm very dumbfounded that they worked out. But hey, at the end of the day, Love is Blind promotes marriage, which I think is very important. Love is Blind gets people excited about just being married again and building a life with someone. So yeah, a definite shocker, but yep, that's Kwame and Chelsea. All right, so now we're gonna go to what I called in part 1 the wild card couple, which is Zach and Bliss. They worked out just fine, which I figured they would, just because Bliss was okay with accepting that she was second choice or second fiddle. And if you can accept that, that must mean you're really all in for someone. And I never thought about it, but comparing her to Chelsea, yeah, they both accepted that they were not their lovers, future husbands, etc., their first choice, which is really, really interesting. And in the first part, I called Zach awkward or cringy and compared him to Paul, but I take that back. I'm not saying that Zach isn't awkward. All I will say is that he grew on me over time. I think he grew on a lot of people, especially when he went ahead and grew that beard out. And when he and Bliss were at the reunion, they were matching in that lavender, and you know what it looks like when a person is being loved on properly and they're very happy. So I really like Bliss and Zach together. I like how Zach was standing up to Bliss's father, just being really transparent about who he was and not, letting, his father or her father, just being so skeptical deter him from loving Bliss. I really love them together. It's also interesting how Zach was getting on Irina. He was calling her out like Nope, you were on the show for the wrong reasons. But at the end of the day, he picked the best woman. He should have picked her first, but it is what it is. And for all of the people who are in love with zodiacs, astrology, like I said, correct me, what is the proper term right there? Zach is an Aries, and Bliss, we have another Scorpio, which what is very, very interesting is that Irina, if you care, is also a Scorpio. So Zach was essentially torn between two Scorpios. And what I can say about Aries and Scorpio people is like what we saw with Kwame. Aries are very passionate, fiery people. Scorpios are also very resolute. I want what I want type of people. So when you pair those two types of people together, you can expect there to be a lot of fireworks, passion, maybe even some power struggles. But essentially, I really like Zach and Bliss together. They had some things to work out. What couple is perfect? And yeah, great couple. Woo, buddy. I'm gonna have to take a pause for this couple. Okay. Micah and Paul. I absolutely knew in part one that they just weren't going to work out. They just seemed to be two different people. They seemed to live two different lifestyles. I just did not see the alignment there. Upon studying Paul's Instagram, he just seemed to be a very hippie guy, very, nothing about him seemed like I want this glamorous, fabulous life. He seemed very minimalistic, very practical, analytical, the type to pick a lot of stuff apart, right? Whereas Micah just seemed to be glamorous, fabulous. Based on her Instagram, it looked like there was a lot of travel photos. That's one part they could have probably, really gotten along on, that they loved traveling and seeing the world. But to me, she just seemed to be more prissy, to just be someone that loves to do her makeup, primp herself. They just seemed like polar opposites. And it was very interesting, maybe is the word disrespectful, I guess, the way that Paul articulated how he didn't see Micah as a mom. Maybe I understand the mother to his kids, but even then, the most articulate thing that he could have said, even if he had to say it at all, was that, hey, our lifestyles are just not in alignment. I tried, but I really couldn't see a future in how it will work and be compatible. And I didn't mean to hurt you, but I would have hurt you more if I pretended that we were going to work and I just knew we weren't. But it just seemed really detached. Well, not detached. There seemed to be some type of recourse or bad feelings that he hurt her in that way. I just believe that his communication is very rusty and it needs work, and sometimes he comes across, once again, I've used this word probably 32 times in both of these sessions, but just cringy, just not saying the right things or having the right sentiment about things. I don't know. I just feel like he'll work out with somebody, but I just knew he wasn't going to work out with Micah. I just knew that right away. And Micah's sign is a Pisces. I know about Pisces that they are very emotional and they just kind of go with the flow a little more. So just based on that alone, for Paul's very analytical, pick things apart personality, I could see how that would have just been a mismatch. I could not find any birthday posts from Paul, so his zodiac sign is a complete question mark. I don't know what his is. If some sleuths or detectives here want to try to figure that out, drop that in the comments below. But yeah, I was right about that. I knew it wasn't going to work, and I'm glad it didn't. They both need different people. I would argue they both have some growing to do in a lot of different ways. I would make this podcast probably an hour if I dissected that. So not going to go into all of that. But yeah, they didn't work, and it really doesn't surprise me at all. And finally, I saved the worst for last. We have Jackie and Marshall. They did not make it. I was correct about that. Definitely felt like both of them had some issues there. Could be an age thing, but not always. People sometimes who are younger can be very mature. I just think that Jackie was definitely caught up with looks when she went for Josh instead. I think that she was definitely an example of how love is definitely not blind. It seems like Josh and her, maybe come from the same background, have kind of the same culture, or at least some of those similarities. And yeah, she's like, he looks good. He's more assertive, more, I guess, in her mind, what she defined as masculine. But even though Marshall seemed like a very great guy, and as I said in part one, I love the friendship that he had with Brett, Marshall still had some things to work out too. Of course, anybody could argue that Jackie would benefit from therapy, as any person would. But when Marshall felt rejected, he just went to interesting lows. And like I said in the first episode, when he put a coat around her in one of the episodes, when they all came to, I believe it was Chelsea's birthday party, he just was feeling insecure about her showing any type of skin. And also he said that she had a strong jawline and kind of looked like a man, and I definitely don't think Jackie identifies as that. So I was like, whoa, that's a low blow. Like, yeah. So it's safe to say Marshall is a very sensitive guy, a guy who's in touch with his emotions, and when his emotions are striked, it seems like he can also go for the kill. And of course that was going to be very, very toxic. And finally, their zodiac signs. So Jackie is a Capricorn, and Marshall, I discovered, is a Virgo, which astrologically speaking, it seems like they would be a great pair. Very down to earth and just hardworking people. That's what I know of Virgos and Capricorns. But they didn't work out, and that's why I don't believe that astrology is the end all to be all, just because, hey, there are other factors. From what I've learned, when you look at an entire astrological chart, there might be differences there, hence why, all Virgos may not act the same, or Capricorns or whatever. But once again, astrology, I believe, is just fun. It's not something that, in my opinion, should be taken too seriously when you're trying to figure out the things that you want out of a partner. But also, interestingly enough, Josh is a Gemini, so a Gemini and Capricorn pairing. That has got to be interesting. But Josh, as stereotypically Geminis comes across as very I think he's a little childish, a little impulsive, if you will, a little hard to follow, but also very charismatic in a way. So that's interesting on his character. But I think that until, Jackie just evolves and grows, like, I don't know how her next relationship, with Josh or anybody is going to work. It just seems like there was a lot going on with her family, a lot of trauma, it was just a lot to unpack. And once again, trying to unpack everything about all of the couples and all of the different personality types could take like an entire hour, which I won't take. But that is my spiel on Love is Blind season 4. And in the future, I'm going to talk about other shows. I believe that my next show I'll cover is All American and maybe All American Homecoming. So stick around for that. But if you enjoyed this, please share it. Share it on social media wherever you can. And if you just overall have been checking out the channel and you enjoy the topics I talk about overall, please like, subscribe, do all of that. That is one way that this channel is going to grow organically, as if you all just make sure to share the videos and hit that also notification bell, so that every time I post a new session, you'll definitely see it in your notifications. All right, well, that is Speak Your Soul Sessions. I am once again Slept On Shay. I am signing off, and I encourage you to have a good day, afternoon, evening, or night, wherever you may be in the world.